let's prove our next theorem. Our next theorem says, hey, if I have an exterior angle, it's equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So let's draw a triangle out, and let's extend one side out. I'm going to call that angle 1. Next to it, I'm going to say angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. Now I know if I add 2 plus 3 plus 4, I get 180 degrees. Why do I know that? Because that's what we just did on the previous one. That's your interior angle sum. That is, if I have 3 angles of any triangle, it adds to 180. I also know if I add 1 plus 2, I get 180 degrees. How do I know that? Well, that's my linear pair. When I add 2 adjacent angles up that form a line, I know they add to 180. So I can substitute. What I'm going to do here, instead of writing 180, I'm going to write 1 plus 2. So now I'm going to say, need a little bit more room here, so I'm going to write it over here. The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2. Notice I've got the measure of angle 2 on both sides. I can subtract that off. That's your subtraction property of equality. And you're left with the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals the measure of angle 1. And that's your triangle angle sum, or that's your exterior angle theorem. If I add the 2 angles inside that aren't next to the exterior angle, I get the exterior angle. So we can apply that on this next example. So on my next example, notice 12x plus 7 is my exterior angle. So I'm going to say 12x plus 7 equals the sum of my 2 remote interior angles, which in this case are 6x minus 4 and 65 degrees. So now I'm going to say 6x equals 6x minus 4 plus 65. Now we'll do the algebra, actually the pre-algebra. Negative 4 plus 65 is 61. And then we can subtract 6x from both sides. When I do that, I'm going to get 6x. And then might as well minus 7 from both sides, huh? So a minus 7 from both sides. And we get 6x equals 54. I'll divide both sides by 6. X equals 9. Notice I'm not asking for 9 on this problem. The problem says find the measure of angle DAB. So let's substitute that in. So the measure of angle DAB, which is 12x plus 7, so that's 12 times 9 plus 7. Well, 12 times 9 is 108, plus 7 gives me 115 degrees. There is my solution. Let me write that out. The measure of angle DAB equals 115 degrees. Now, a corollary is just a proof that follows directly from another theorem. So we have this one. It says, hey, the acute angles of a right triangle, they're complementary. So in other words, if I have a right triangle and I know all three angles add to 180, well, that means if one of them is right, that means my other two angles have to add to 90, because 90 plus 90 gives me 180.